Hey, what's up, everybody? Gonna do a classic rock reaction, man. This is a full album reaction. We are doing a full album reaction to Led Zeppelin's eighth studio album, In Through the Outdoor. And this full album reaction is coming by way of pretty much more so my wish and desire to kind of connect, if you will, to some of the Led Zeppelin albums in their discography that I don't feel as connected to as the others. And so this is the last of the four albums that I've so-called not been very connected to, starting with Led Zeppelin, Three Houses of the Holy, Presence, and then finally now In Through the Outdoor. Now, after this, beyond this, what I've been getting is a number of patrons and subscribers has said to me, well, you have actually done every Zeppelin studio album song by song, but that's being separated by a couple of weeks at a time. You really should have the experience of doing it in a full album capacity, the way the artist, especially Jimmy Page, had intended it to be. And you've never actually given us a full album reaction. I know that you've listened on your own time, but you've never actually sat down and utilized your format. So hey, you know what? That's true. And where it comes to the whole Led Zeppelin experience, if I want to pride myself on being as this being a little bit of a study in science, I should do that. So that's basically how this all came about, man. So after this, that's what I'm going to do. But in regards to my desire to connect to the full album of Led Zeppelin, I think it's absolutely necessary. I was going to bypass it at first, but I had too many people saying, yeah, hey, you know what? It's something you have to experience in full from beginning to end. So, okay, man. I listen to y'all. Let's do this shit from beginning to end. Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor. And a lot of people unanimously kept saying, this is for the lazy boy. You gotta give this the big comfy couch treatment. So here we are on my lazy boy, my big comfy couch. So man, In Through the Outdoor, Led Zeppelin, full album. Let's get it. Here's to all of you who've been with me from the very beginning when I first fell into this rabbit hole. Cheers to you. Let me know who you are. Just say, yo, been with you from the get. That's the hashtag. Brother, been with you from the get. Cheers to you. Is that Jimmy Page in the thumbnail here? Looking all fly? I think it is, with a haircut. Sound like thunder starting up, didn't it? That guitar. This guy can talk to you with that instrument. There's nobody else for me, man. It's Page all the way. One of the best things about this song is the beginning, how it starts. That chill factor when it starts up. Each one of these guys, they're just so special. Infused together, it makes it so unfair. A number of people would surprise you by saying that this song is among their favorites off of this album. Let me know if that's you. It's got some charm to it. Robert with his sweet talk. His presence can never be denied. It's a good tune, man. Feel good song. Oh shit. Talk about feeling good. When I went to visit my pops in Jamaica, and I played this for him, he stopped what he was doing. Sat down and he put his hand to his mouth like this, and his eyebrows shot up, and he just listened. So then old man Rufus comes in around this part and he starts shaking his old ass. He stopped immediately when I told him it was Led Zeppelin. It's like, oh, them white boys? fantastic calypso, even with the whistle blowing. And then you got the rise. It says something when you take this shit with you to Jamaica and you play it, and it's embraced. Have you ever done that? Met your date on the wrong block or in the wrong restaurant? Just the wrong meeting place? I know there's a few of you out there that's done that. Tell me about it. It's one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. You know why? Because it showcases their range, diversity, what they can do. How many acts wish that they had that range? Case in point, they're going from reggae to country. She left angels hanging around for more. That shit's funny. That is outstanding. Oh yes, Carousel, the big dividing song for this album. John Bonham. I love that part when it ascends higher and the beat shifts. I wonder if this track made it in the clubs. Probably not, because it was still heavy disco back then. taking you on a trip with these beat changes, these shifts. Here we go. Thunder of John Bonham being present in this song is crucial for the signature sound to stay intact. Even though this is keyboard based, it's still got that signature sound. This song to me represents what could have been in the 80s, going into the 80s. Instead of heavily guitar led, being led by the keyboards, still had enough of the signature sound, the thunder, the charm. I will take it now. This song is an experience, let me tell you. I totally understand why some people really like it or they don't. For whatever reasons, I understand it all. I like it though. Yet again, another shift in their creative variety.
Should I fall out of love, my fire in the night, to chase a feather in the wind, within the glow that weaves a cloak of delight, that moves a thread that has no end, for many hours and days that pass ever soon,
Great instrumentals.
Yours is the cloth, mine is the hand that sews time. His is the force that lies within. Ours is the fire, all the warmth we can find. He is a feather in the wind. All of my love,
He is a feather in the
all
wind.
of my love, all of my love to you.
This is about his son. Son that passed away. There you go, y'all. That is what I mean by a ballad rather than a sappy ass love song. Nothing sappy about this. This is a masterful ballad.
She's my baby. Let me tell you why. Hey, she drives me crazy. She's the apple of my eye. 'Cause she is my girl, and she can never do wrong. If I drink too much at night, somebody please bring me down. Hey, I love that little lady. I got to be her fool. Ain't no other like my baby. I can break the golden rule, 'cause I get down on my knees. Oh, I pray the love won't die. And if I always try to please, I don't know the reason why. And she'll come back, I will stay with me. Oh yeah, every little bit, every little bit, every little bit. My She give me good love. My baby give me good love. Ooh, yes, I love her. Yes, I love her. Yes, I love her. I wanna crawl.
All right, y'all. That is Led Zeppelin. In Through the Outdoor. You're absolutely right, a lot of you, about listening to the album from beginning to end, especially like this in a focused way, one sitting going all the way through. I get different perspectives compared to that of listening to each song, especially broken up within a week or two segments going from song to song. It's completely different. And let me tell you, man, there's just so many thoughts that I've got in my head. But let's focus on the most important. I am convinced that this is the sound that they would have taken with them into the 80s. Regardless of if they were forward-looking enough or had it pre-planned or whatever the case may be, because that's up in the air. It's going to be divided. It's going to be one argument versus another. Wayne personally thinks that this is the sound that they would have carried with them into the 80s. Let me give you a layout. If John was still with us, and they had, after this particular album, let's say they broke up for a while or went back home, chilled out. They all kind of raised their family for a few years. The 80s is upon them. The punk movement is moving in. And so then after a little while, they start to get the itch of performing again. Maybe they do some solo works or whatnot. These four guys can't deny the fact, if all four of them are still around, that together they make a masterful sound, regardless of if they're struggling with alcoholism, addictions, strife, all manner of different things. They know collectively the four of them create this fusion sound that is unmatched. They know that. So they get together in the mid-80s, for example. This is the sound that they would bring in with them. I believe it. More of a keyboard centered sound, but with the thunder behind them, with the musicianship of Led Zeppelin, with the magical lyrical delivery of Robert Plant. Those things combined together would still give these guys a very strong presence on the musical landscape, to the point where they could not be denied. Their presence could not be denied. Maybe they wouldn't have as commanding, an effect on the market base as they did in the 70s, but they would still have a great fan base, and they would win new, younger fans to their sound. Some of the older people who had been with them from the very beginning, they would still been on board. They would have lost some people because, people will still be judging them based on their earlier years and the crazy banshee wailing of Robert Plant and that infused, powerful sonic boom effect of their thunder. So that would still be missed and they would still lose some people, but overall, no one can deny that magical elixir, that mix of these four guys and the sound that they created, whether it's guitar driven or keyboard driven. I believe that. I believe this is the sound that they would have carried them into the 80s, for sure. Maybe sprinkled in there with some of their old thunder. But at the same time, though, this is an older Led Zeppelin. This is a weather-beaten Led Zeppelin. This is a Led Zeppelin who has matured. Remember, Page would have gotten over his addiction Bonham over his boozing. Plant is now older. He's now recovered from his auto accident. He's wiser, he's lost a child. And so they've matured and they've grown. So I think that they would have probably left their earlier thunderous ruckus sound behind them, and they would have embraced the 80s going forward with a new sound. Kind of like with Fleetwood Mac, some of the great bands that were around in the 70s who transitioned successfully into the 80s, they would have done the exact same. I believe that. And here's the thing. Some would not accept it because they would still be bugged by the greatness of their past. Okay, that's fine. And some would accept it and would really, really enjoy their sound for what it is. This album, In Through the Outdoor, a lot of people call it their worst. And here's what I got to say about that. Perhaps it is, because you got to have a best and you got to have a worst. But at their very worst, they're still masterful, they're still great, they're still Led Zeppelin. I will take this worst of their album lineups. And if you said, Wayne, you've got a band and now it's going to be based upon taking the gamble of this particular album, only this album alone, and this is going to set the pace for your legacy, your success, your this and this, would you take that gamble? Hell yeah, I would. I don't know which particular song you see as being the worst on this album, but I will take that song and I would put it out there and just wait and see what happens on the market. And I bet you that song would make me rich and famous. Have no doubt. I will take the worst of Led Zeppelin, even the damn crunch, and I would put it out there. And I know for a fact that song would make me rich and famous. Absolutely. So when you're looking at Led Zeppelin songs, Led Zeppelin albums, that's how I look at it. I look at it through the eyes of fresh eyes, not comparing it to what's before and that sort of thing, just for what it is. I mean, come on, man. Fool in the Rain? Holy shit. That tune showcases their ability to create, their range. Even with all of the obstacles and the challenges they had, they could create a masterful piece of work like that. Come on, man. Showing you that they still got the thunder, that they still got all of the elements that makes them Led Zeppelin, plus that they can go in a certain direction. They can go from reggae to country to a slow pacing bluesy based anguish song like Gonna Crawl, and then they can go into an endearing ballad. Holy cow. How many bands, how many acts wish that they had that range and that kind of diversity? So many reasons why you like Led Zeppelin, many reasons why Led Zeppelin is not liked. One of the reasons is, from a point of view of an artist, some jealous but hurt artists, is that they don't have this kind of range and creativity. If I'm a certain butthurt guitarist who had been around and don't like Led Zeppelin for every single thing that they've done, what that artist is really saying is that I don't have that kind of range and diversity that these guys have. Therefore, I am jealous, therefore I am butthurt, and I will never ever embrace them or allow myself to like anything that they've done because I don't have that range within myself. That's what that particular artist is saying. You know who I'm talking about. I love that person, but I think that that person is irrational and to a certain extent lost. And what I will say to a lot of Led Zeppelin fans, it's okay if you don't like this album. It's okay if you don't accept it for the difference in the sound and all of that sort of thing. I don't think that you're hating on Led Zeppelin. I think that you're basically just comparing the apple to the orange of the past, and that's okay. I always keep in mind that this is 1979 and that they've matured, they've grown, they've come full circle in a way, and now they're on the other side of things and their sound has changed based on their life and what's happened to them. And they're still doing really, really good at this point, in my mind. you know? Anyway, I could talk all day about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this album, but overall, it's all good, man. And I really dig it, and I appreciate actually listening to it from beginning to end. Overall, those are my thoughts on this album. So, let's do a little bit of a review here, man. Just a short one. Couple of paragraphs. Get the idea of the background. Things solidify for me when I go back in time a little bit. And speaking of going back in time, let me ask you this. I am talking to the Led Zeppelin fan who was actually here during this period of time, who the contemporary Led Zeppelin fan who was a Led Zeppelin fan established, eagerly awaiting the next album. In Through the Outdoor comes out, and then your impression. What was your impression? The aftermath of it. Did you say, damn, I'm a little disappointed. I was expecting something more. I was expecting a throwback to the first and the second album, the thunderous blues rock-based sound. I was expecting a little bit more of the far and away fantasy farscape sound of No Quarter, Achilles' Last Stand, the Rain Song. When In Through the Outdoor came out, you're a fan. You are a teen to an adult. You have a developed mind. Were you disappointed? Or after the fact, did you say, well, okay, they can't have perfection all the time. This is different. It's more keyboard driven. I understand. I accept it all the same. Where were you? What was your feeling? What was your impression? How did you accept the album? This is what I really, really want to know. And I'm telling you right now, do not sit and just watch me and then click off the damn video. You have a YouTube account. If this is on YouTube or wherever it is on, let me know, especially if you were there, right? Back in the day, growing up, listening to this. You were a teen, you were an adult, you were anxiously awaiting the next album. Go back in time to that feeling of how you felt about this album. Write me, tell me about it. This is why I have a damn channel, to connect with you guys on this level. So don't sit there and just watch me, oh, good reaction, man, and then you damn click off. No. Give me a few. Let me know how you felt. That's what I really want, right? This is why I do reactions, to get that connection, to get the infuse. This is the juice that feeds me, the juice of the fiber. So give me a little bit, all right? You owe me that much. If you are watching me and you're getting any value out of what I do, send the love back. I don't care if you have never responded to me before, and if you're basically just passing by. If you've watched me for more than 5 minutes and you have value in how I react, what I do, how I review things, you owe me. Write this shit to me and tell me, if you were there back in the day, how you felt about this album. That's what I want from you. Now, let's do a reaction. I'm being this strong and forceful because I'm drunk on sugarcane rum. When I drink sugarcane rum, I have liquid courage. Now, I'm not about to jump out of a damn airplane, but I will get a little bit raw with you. So that's me being infused with sugarcane rum. So, In Through the Outdoor. In Through the Outdoor is the 8th and final studio album by English rock band Led Zeppelin. It was recorded over a 3-week period in November and December of '78 at ABBA's Polar Studios in Stockholm, Sweden, and released by Swan Song Records on the 15th of August in '79. This is the final album released prior to the passing of drummer John Bonham in 1980. Shortly after which, the band decided to dissolve. Wow, how sad that was. That must have been a great loss for you guys. Going back in time again, about that. Condolences for you who were there at the time, and you were feeling this. You were there, you heard about it. You were probably stunned, and you probably sat down and you probably said to yourself, oh my goodness, this really, really hurts. I feel for you. I feel for you deeply. There's the quote. They officially stated that they could not continue without their friend. We wish it to be known that the loss of our dear friend and the deep sense of undivided harmony felt by ourselves and our manager have led us to decide that we could not continue as we were. No doubt, no truer words have ever been spoken. You take one element out of Led Zeppelin, it's gone, it's done. There's nothing else you can do. Wow. The album was a huge commercial success, particularly in the US, where it reached #1 on Billboard's chart in just its second week on the chart, as well as hitting #1 in the UK, Canada, and New Zealand, and the top 10 or 15 in several other countries. In Through the Outdoor was the band's final studio release to reach the top of the charts in America. Not bad for Led Zeppelin's worst, you know? If it was a brand new band possessing this particular album, it would probably, of course, chart differently, but I bet you it would still be a top 5 album, you know? And that's still successful. Background. The album was named by the group to describe its recent struggles amidst the death of Robert Plant's son Carrick in 1977 and the taxation exile the band took from the UK. The exile resulted in the band being unable to tour on British soil for over 2 years, and trying to get back into the public mind was therefore like trying to get in through the outdoor. The group began rehearsing material in September of '78, and after 6 weeks, they were ready to record material. They traveled to Polish studios in Stockholm to begin recording. In contrast to previous Led Zeppelin albums, In Through the Outdoor features much greater influence on the part of bassist and keyboardist John Paul Jones and vocalist Robert Plant, and relatively less from drummer John Bonham and guitarist Jimmy Page. This diminished input by Page and Bonham is attributed to the two band members often not showing up on time at the recording studio, with Bonham struggling with alcoholism and Page battling heroin addiction. Jones later said, "There were two distinct camps by then, and we, Plant and I, were in the relatively clean one. Many of the songs were consequently put together by Plant and Jones during the day, with Page and Bonham adding their parts late at night." Jones had also been inspired to create new material after purchasing a Yamaha GX1 synthesizer prior to the album's recording, and he was working closely with Robert, which was something that had not happened before. Unquote. Following the recording sessions at Polar, the album was mixed at Page's personal studio at his home in Plumpton. Wearing and Tearing, Ozone Baby, and Darlene were recorded during sessions for this album, but were dropped because of space constraints. All later appeared on Coda. There's the history. Oh man. Look at all of the shit that the critics have to say. I can't read all of this, man. I'm gonna have to bounce around, y'all. Contemporary reviews. In the Rolling Stone album guide, Gaylord Fields said the album was maligned upon its release, a retreat from heaviness, but now stands as an art rock oddity with some alluring tangents. That's 2004 guide. Colin Larkin, this is contemporary. Okay, yeah. Colin Larkin appraised it in his Encyclopedia of Popular Music in 2006 as lacking the definition of the band's previous records, yet a strong collection on which Jones emerged as the unifying factor. Neil McCormick, however, reinforced past complaints about the album, ranking it as the band's worst album in a 2014 retrospective on the band in the Daily Telegraph, saying, "Muddy production, perky synths, jaunty pop rhythms, and an orchestral ballad make these songs barely recognizable as the heaviest band in history." Unquote. The reissue was met with generally positive reviews. At Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating out of 100 to reviews from mainstream pubs, the album received an average score of 73, based on 8 reviews. Q Magazine said, "It's aged remarkably well, and All My Love is breathtakingly beautiful," while Tim Badcup from Classic Rock observed in the bonus material a scruffier, rambunctious hot dog and a sparser in the evening. The drone intro truncated and Jones synths high in the mix. Pop Matters reviewer Andrew Duskus was more critical, especially on the bonus disc. He said, "While In Through the Outdoor does have some merit, it's cruel of Led Zeppelin to think that anyone, even a dedicated fan, could muster the strength to listen to the album twice in a row." Unquote. What do you think of that review? Let me read that shit again. "While In Through the Outdoor does have some merit, it's cruel of Led Zeppelin to think that anyone, even a dedicated fan, could muster the strength to listen to the album twice in a row." Unquote. If it was just a new upstart possessing this particular album, what would his review be then? You know what I'm saying? But I understand why he is saying it, because of course he is comparing it to their works in the past. You raise a certain bar, people embrace that, they love that. You are not allowed to change. You're certainly not allowed to give us anything less than that. This is where you will always be judged. And anything less than that, in some people's minds, is the shits, Not necessarily true, but that's just how some people feel and think. Thankfully, not all of us feels that way. We can appreciate the album for what it is. It still shows creativity, great musicianship, great cohesion, all kinds of great things that makes Led Zeppelin who they are. And I think going into the 80s with this album or albums similar to this, they would have been very, very successful. They would have won new fans, new popularity, and they would have still been very, very relevant. Even with the new sound of the 80s and the punk movement and all that, they would still be dedicated Led Zeppelin fans, appreciating Led Zeppelin for their signature sound. It's a sweet elixir, and it doesn't matter what's around them, who's new on the scene. When you have a signature sound like that, you will definitely have fans and keep your fans. That's all I gotta say about that. I dare you to challenge me and let me know that I'm wrong about that. I dare you. Now, okay, man, so that is my review of this fantastic album, this great album, In Through the Outdoor. I am definitely reconnected. I have achieved what I set out to achieve in the sense of reconnecting to those 4 albums. The other albums, of course, takes a lot more, has taken more of my attention. There were a lot more requests for various songs, various live renditions from the previous albums, more so than the 4 albums in the lineup. And so I'm glad that I went through this process. And of course, I will stick to my promise, and I will go back in time, and I will start from the very, very beginning and do each album in succession like that. Now, I won't do The Song Remains the Same like that, the live. That's just a great, great undertaking, and you can understand why. I will do Physical Graffiti though. Even though it's a double album, I will do it. And yes, I will do it in one sitting. You're going to have a 4-hour video where it comes to the reaction and the review, but you're used to that shit by now. You know that I can do it. All right. I'm just scrolling down here, checking my notes before I bounce, man. Yeah, so where I am now with Led Zeppelin is there's some more live stuff to come. I know Blueberry Hill is in the shoot. Who sent me Blueberry Hill? Was it Evelyn? I think it was Jeffrey. And Evelyn sent me a bunch of other things, page and plant-wise, and some interview stuff. I got, like I said, some full album reactions. I'm gonna go all the way back to the first album and start there and go through the whole process, full album reaction, and more of their solo works. And just to answer your question, and I know Evelyn asked me this maybe 2 weeks ago, yeah, send me whatever you want to send me, because I'm not committed so much to a timeline structure anymore. So that includes their solo works, that includes their Page Plant collaborations in the 90s, that includes Jason Bonham's stuff, their solo things. I know that Jones was part of a band, and so yeah, and Page also, the firm. So there's stuff that you can send me. So send me whatever you want to send me, okay? And we'll just go from there. And so at this point now, I'm just basically, like I said, being a mad scientist and going through it all. And there's no particular timeline structure anymore. I'm just on my own time now, free falling. And just as you send the shit to me, I'll just do a reaction to it. Whether it's live stuff, maybe something that I've missed, maybe something that I've yet to hear from Led Zeppelin, or whatever it is, just send it to me and I'll check it out, okay? Being a Led Zeppelin scientist. Yeah, and that's it, man. So hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you enjoyed my review. Even though I'm a little bit drunk on sugarcane rum, I hope that, what I was saying was still fluent enough and cohesive enough that you can understand what I was saying. I don't think I ranted. No, I'm beyond the stage of ranting now. I no longer jump on Rolling Stone anymore, right? And that fool Christgau, you notice that he's no longer in this lineup. I didn't even mention him. I just completely skipped that shit. So yeah, just like Led Zeppelin, I'm evolving too. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining me, man. Take care, have a good one, and I'll catch you in my next Led Zeppelin reaction. It's either going to be in the form of maybe a quad or something someone sends me, or more than likely, if not that, within the next week or whatever, you'll probably see my next full album reaction, which is dialing the clock back and hitting up Led Zeppelin 1. That'll be probably next weekend sometime, okay? Have a good one and peace out.